thank you so much for taking part in the series, but you're a very difficult woman to pin down. You are so busy these days.
I am pretty busy, yeah, but I like to be busy, so it's totally self-inflicted.
People, I think, are incredibly inspired by your grace and your determination and the fact that you just keep pushing forward. What is it that drives all of that?
Yeah, you know what, and after every time I do something really big, I say to myself, okay, like, you're going to take a chill pill now, not do anything for a while, but then another challenge pops up and I think, yeah, I really want to do that. So for me, I've always really loved setting goals for myself, and I find that when I achieve a goal that really forces me outside of my comfort zone, that gives me more confidence and more self-belief and more self-esteem, and with all of that, I can then go on and set bigger and, I guess, not better, but just goals that stretch me even more.
Yeah. How different is the Turia that's sitting before me today to the Turia I would have met before the accident?
To be honest, I am a lot different, but I think a lot of that's to do with age and maturity and getting older and getting a bit wiser and that type of stuff. So I think I'm more confident now. I'm more eloquent. I used to be a bit of a bogan. And I'm probably more graceful and more of a woman. I was 24, it was my first year out of uni. I studied mining engineering. Yeah. I was working on a mine in the Kimberleys, and it was like an exciting and crazy life, and I'd do mine blasts and I'd drive around the mine in the Land Rover, and you know, it was kind of raw and rugged and a bit rough, and I was probably a little bit rough back then too because I was living in a mining town.
Take us back to the day that you were running that marathon. Tell us how that whole day unfolded. What you remember of it?
Yes, it's odd when people ask me that question because it's like one day of my life. So I was about a quarter of the way through, around 25 kilometres. I was in a gorge. I looked up, I saw flames. Next minute I was burning, and then the fire had passed. It was probably only 5 or 6 seconds.
It was that quick?
It was that quick. And it was so quick, it was almost like, you know, shit, did that actually happen? Mm. And then from there I was evacuated in a helicopter. I woke up a month later in Concord Hospital.
So there's a whole month of your life?
Whole month, yeah.
You have no
I've got no idea what happened, yeah. And you know, when I get asked about what the pain of the fire was like, you know, when you're expecting pain, it's more painful than when, you know, if you just fall over.
It's the anticipation of it.
Yeah, the anticipation, that's the worst part. So like the pain in hospital was way worse than the pain of the fire because I could hear the nurses coming to the room. I knew that they were going to change my bandages. So anticipating it, that's so much worse than when it's unexpected. Was there ever a time in the rehabilitation process, which I know is still ongoing, but particularly when you were in hospital, and was there ever a time when you thought, this is just all too hard? Yeah, I thought that all the time. I thought that, you know, you're doing well, you just got to do your rehab and you just got to keep working and you're going to get better. And other days when I'd just be like, no, fuck this, like it's too hard. It's too much for one person, I don't want to do it. But, you know, I didn't really have a choice, Lisa. I could either just have sat there and just lounged around and felt sorry for myself and watched TV all day, or I could put in the work and put in the effort and create a really good life for myself. And I chose creating the good life. But that's a choice that everyone makes. Do they just sit back and let life happen to them, or do they go out and make it work for them? So. And through it all, there was Michael. Yeah. At your bedside. Yeah, he was pretty amazing. How long had you two been together? We were high school sweethearts, kind of. He was my brother's best friend, so I always had a crush on him, but we didn't actually start going out officially until after school. Do you think you could sum Michael up in one sentence? He's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. Fabulous guy. He's very calm and easygoing, and have you heard that saying, still waters run deep? Yeah. Because I'm very like energetic and let's do this and let's do that, and you know, Michael's the total opposite. He's so calm, and at times I feel he's a bit reserved. He can be a bit reserved, but I think that's part of his magic, I guess. What do you think he would say about you? crazy, energetic. You know, those little Energizer bunnies?
Yes.
He'd say I was one of them. Yeah. And I think, you know, relationships are hard, but I think if you're with someone that, you know, Michael brings out the best in me, and I feel I bring out the best in him. So for us, it works.
I've been in the audience when you've been speaking, particularly at your wonderful charity nights.
Yeah.
And you can hear a pin drop.
I haven't always felt comfortable in front of crowds. I used to be a terrible public speaker, but I've always used humour. And I remember in hospital, one of the days I was supposed to get my compression mask, and then with that I could go outside, but the mask, it didn't arrive, and I was totally furious, and I was like, nah, stuff it, we're going to go outside anyway. And Michael and Mum said, look, you know, you look different from what you used to look like, so people might stare. And we went outside, and this guy came up to me and he said, oh, like, what's happened to you, mate? Like, you look really bad. Have you been burnt or something? But he was missing his teeth. So I was like, hey, at least I've got my teeth. Like,
You must find yourself in those situations where people don't know what to say to you. They're not sure.
I feel like I look normal. So when people take a second look, I think, oh, they're probably looking because, like, they might have seen me on TV or they might have seen me in a magazine.
Yeah.
I never think they're looking because I look weird. Yeah.
And what about kids? Do kids ask you? Because kids can be
Yeah.
very honest. And,
Kids are
and
totally
very
honest,
raw.
but I love that about kids.
in a great way.
Yeah.
So how do you explain it to them?
They just say, oh, what happened to you? I'm like, I was burnt.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And are parents freaking out in the background?
Parents are like, parents are like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's fine. Like, they're a kid.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the stories that you tell, which I love, is they were lucky enough to meeting Kate and Wills.
Well, I was really nervous to start with. I was super nervous, and I started Googling on the internet because I thought, what do you do when you meet royalty? Like, do you curtsy, or like, do you shake the hand, or like, you know? So I looked up on the internet said you have to curtsy. So when I met Princess Kate, I went to curtsy, but then she held out her hand. So then I sort of like stumbled and then like quickly shook her hand, and I think, you know, the whole situation was a bit awkward.
What about Wills?
No, he was off work in the other half of the room.
Yeah, because they're that kind of team, aren't they?
Yeah, but she told me I had tremendous fighting spirit.
You could have said to her, we're both cover girls.
I could have.
On the cover of Women's Weekly.
But that's not part of my humble and graceful.
But let's celebrate that. Was that a surprise when you got the call?
For the cover?
Yeah.
It was a surprise, yeah. I was totally surprised, but at the same time, I didn't really understand what all the fuss was about. Because it was a big honour. It was a huge privilege to be asked to be on the cover of the Women's Weekly. But, you know, I was getting phone calls from people saying, what do you think this says about the media and beauty? And, you know, what does this say about body image? And I don't want to be pigeonholed into those sort of categories.
So what's next for you? Where do you want to take all of this goodness that you so easily spread around the country?
I've been working really hard on my online school, my School of Champions, which is all about goal setting and, you know...
Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, after speeches, I was always getting the same types of questions. People like, how did you do it? How have you managed to keep setting these really big goals for yourself? And how do you have so much confidence? And if it was hard for me to articulate the answer in like the 5 minutes you get after a speech.
Yeah.
But I think it's because of my goals. Because when you set a goal that really stretches yourself, it makes you more confident, gives you more self-belief, more self-esteem, makes you more resilient. So I developed this school and I developed this framework which is all about goal setting and getting comfortable in the grind, because I think setting the goal, that's the easy part, yeah? Like, we can all set a huge, lofty, aspirational goal, but the actual doing the work, the grinding away, being consistent, I think that's where it becomes a bit trickier. And if I inspire people to better their lives, whether that be lose weight, quit smoking, leave a violent relationship, I'm really proud of that. I love that. That makes me really happy, and that gives me a lot of satisfaction.
Well, you are doing it on a daily basis,
Yeah,
so
that's good.
be satisfied. Okay, so are you ready for us to take
Yes,
photos?
let's do photos.
Okay.